Hi, everybody. Welcome to this month's Lunch and Learn webinar. We're going to give everybody a couple of minutes just to hop on, and we're going to be going over sales operations in ePay. This is something that is not currently available to our customers, but it's the next generation of what's going to be out there. So we've been doing some internal testing. Want to give you guys a little sneak peek as to what's coming down the line. And then if there's any further questions, you guys can reach out and either sales or our tech team can help answer any of those questions. All right, Jen, I don't see anybody else hopping on right now. If you want to go ahead and get started with sharing your screen, and then we can get this rolling.
Let me go ahead and share my screen. So, like Christina said, we're just going to give you a sneak peek into what's coming down the road. We've been going over a lot with Ravyx recently and showing you how the new back office is going to be looking and how you can do everything from SMS and SMS Pro in Ravyx. So this is going to be a little bit switch of a gear, and we're going to focus on the front end operations. So along with the idea with Ravyx in the back, the front end, we're now going to be starting to come down the road. We're going to start using what we call ePOS. So I just kind of wanted to give kind of a sneak peek, and show you what it looks like and how it will operate. So I'm going to go ahead and bring my register up here. Let me just go ahead and go full screen so it's a little easier to see. So this is the login screen. You can see it's very clean. It is running from a web browser. So again, with the same idea as Ravyx, you don't have to install an application. It's got that light install. You can run this from Google Chrome. You can run it from Edge and run your point of sale operations. On an actual lane, we would, of course, lock it down. You wouldn't have the web bar up here. It would just be only visible with the screen. But for my lab purposes, I do have this pulled up. So, but that would not be visible. The cashier would not be able to access the internet from this. So you would just go ahead and log in, just like we normally are. You just type in your username, type in your password. That is all staying the same. And then from here, if you're just going to go into the point of sale, you can just go ahead and click on point of sale. It can be programmed to automatically open with the point of sale. That's absolutely an option. My lab I do have a manual click onto it for when I'm logging in. I'm logging in as a manager or programmer, so I do have to manually click it. So this is the screen layout. Same idea as what we've always said with the V3 version, SMS. All of this can be customized. You can see that they kind of always put like a lot of buttons. All the buttons that you have that you may want to use are on these screens. We would work with you. We would customize. We can change the colors. You can see I changed the one color of this button here just to show you the options. We can remove buttons. We can add buttons, whatever it is that you're looking to do. So right here, this is like your informational screen. So if I enter in a customer, for example, you can see that the customer information will pop up there. So you'll get the customer name, if they're doing house charges, anything like that. If you have your receipt on or off, so if you're doing like green receipts, that's going to show up right here. And then I have my weight showing right here. Again, if you're wanting to make that bigger, you want to move it, that's all available. There's also some quick buttons over here. Again, we can add or remove any buttons from over here that you see fit. Just makes it a little bit easier. And then down here, they have all of the totals, so your number of items, food stamp, taxable, net sales, and payment down here. So ringing up items, again, it's always going to be the same. So if you're ringing up items, you're just going to go ahead and scan an item or type it in and hit the PLU button. As you can see, the one feature that they have added here, you can see they are giving a little bit more information. It's a nice, clean look, and you can actually have pictures of what you're selling. So the pictures would be provided by the consumer, the customer, but if you're wanting to link a picture to a item, you can absolutely do that and have it show up on the screen. And before, we've always had pictures available. It was just in the flip chart. That's also still here. So if you're still wanting to use your flip chart and your flip chart pictures, that's also still available. I'm just going to go ahead and show you what that looks like. So if I go into my flip chart, we can have it default. There is a lot more robust searching options now for the flip charts. But you can just easily have it programmed to go into a certain category family code, like I'm sure you're used to with produce and veggies. Just so you can see, if I come in here to the results, I can go ahead and just click on a letter. And you can see I have a lot of items in here, with some with real pictures, some without real pictures. So it will populate like a blank picture. It will put a default picture in if you don't have one, just so you can see that. The other options that you can do that are, like I said, all carrying over from the V3 version of SMS. We can still do like all the shift, scale shift, WIC shift, food stamp shift. That's all still available here. All of the open ring items, all of the ability to search customers, and we can move and lock these down to manager level, whatever it is that you're looking for. Going and clicking on subtotal. If there's any coupons available, you can have this screen will pop up that way that the cashier can let the customer know, hey, you have a coupon available, 10 points, you got a free coffee, do you want to apply that? No, I don't want to do that. They can click done. Yes, they do. They can go ahead and click free, and it applies the coupon. And then they can go ahead and click done, and it brings them to the tender screen. So if they qualify for any coupons, that's a nice feature that way the cashier can then interact with the customer, make sure they realize they're getting something before they go ahead and hit that. And then you can see here, this is very streamlined: tender page, charge, check, gift card, foreign currency, credit, debit, EBT, eWIC, cash, and then the subtotal button. Again, all of this can be customized. We can change the sizes of these buttons. We can change the colors of these buttons to suit your needs. Once you can also program it in, have it show up, so that way you can just do cash. The nice thing is, it just went away. It was a little too slow. At the end of each transaction, it's going to show up a little pop-up like you just saw, where it's going to tell the cashier what tender and the amount, if they have any change or anything like that, which is nice. The receipt really doesn't change. So the receipt still is just going to print. It's just still the same receipt template as what we're using before. So you still have the same options, but I have it popping up on my screen. It's not something we're doing a live lane, but just so you can see what it looks like. Again, it's pretty much exactly the same as what we have. It'll show the customer's information, the items they purchased, what they paid, any of those informations. Just so you can see a little bit more that's available with this. Across the top here, there are some extra buttons, extra menus that they can go into. So going into functions, they can go ahead and use, like, if they're needing to do like any sort of extra functions that we need to add in here, they can go into that. More commonly used, you're going to have like your manager functions. So this is all of the functions that are usually behind a manager level. They would be able to come in, log into a register, and have access to these. So we have like a button editor if you're wanting to do your own button editing, price modify, global discounts, if you want to put it into training mode, changing the global date or global store, not usually something you need to do on the lane. So we'd likely remove those, but cancel the transaction, refund mode, all of those options are still here, still the suspend and open, all of that is all available here. Like it's just on the manager menu. And again, we can move these to the main menu if that's something that you're looking for. The other button that they have up here by default is balancing. So if you are needing to do a balancing at the lane for whatever reason, if you have limits set up on the lane, so once you hit $500 cash, you need to go and do a pull, and you don't want to have your accounting person running back and forth, they can have access to balancing and be able to do a pickup right here. They would just be able to do a pickup. They would have to put the operator code in that they're doing a pickup for, so I'll just go ahead and put my operator in. I need to do a pickup for cash. It's very simple, very easy to follow. So I can do a pickup for $1 in cash, make it very simple. If you needed to pick up anything else, it's usually cash, but you could do debit cards, store coupons, anything that's listed here. It's really any tender type that you can come in and do a pickup of. And then once you're done, you just go ahead and click pickup. It completes the pickup. It pulls the money out of the drawer, so that way if you're coming close to any of those limitations that you have set on the registers, you can go ahead and continue ringing. I'm just going to go back at the home page to just go over a few other features that are available. As you can see, except this is very minimal, but I have up here, this is kind of what we call out of the box. If there's any changes, I know a lot of stores, we like to put the logo right here. We can add the logo in there if that's something that you're looking to do. We can change the entire color scheme of this if you have a color scheme for your store and you're wanting to have that scheme kind of match on your registers, you can have that done as well. And then, like I said, adding, subtracting buttons is always something very common that we have to do, so we can easily come in and do that. Just so you can see a little bit more of how things come up. I'm just going to ring up a few items just because one item never seems to be enough. So I'm going to put my coffee in there and have my energy drinks just so you can see a few items up here and how they look as you're going through and selling them. Probably bananas right there. That's always one common one that we get. They're expensive bananas. So the other thing that's nice is that if your cashier is just wanting to make things a little bit easier, they can actually, instead of hitting subtotal, they can hit the pay button right here. That is now a clickable button. There's a subtotal, so they can easily come into the tender screen. We do always have the option right here for subtotal, but just we had that come up. We had that come up sometimes that cashiers were always looking for. They were always trying to tap on the Mountain Dew, so that's nice. If you have a newer version of SMS running currently, there is still the item details that can pop up. Again, we can disable this. This is a little more informative. There's a lot of information in here now. You have the general information, any points that this may have belonged to, if there's any coupons that can be attached to it. Like I just had that one coupon where I could redeem it for a free coffee. Can't do that on this transaction because I don't have a customer entered, but like you can, that way the cashier can actually come in here and see a little bit more information if that's what they're looking for. This item doesn't have any coupons, so just you can see the difference there. But it gives you, it's a little bit more informative than what I felt was in the V3. Gives you a little bit more useful information. But again, if that's not something that you're looking for, that is something that we can still disable. Went a little fast here. I'm sorry. I think I spoke really fast, but that was the bulk of what I wanted to go through. If anybody had anything specific or any questions about this, Christina, did anything come in?
Nope, I don't see any questions that have come in. I'll give everybody a second if you guys do have anything.
I went very fast today, so if I go too fast, let me know.
All good. I will let you guys all know. So at the moment, the schedule is for the upcoming webinars. For October, we were originally doing batching. In November, we were going to do coupons. We kind of thought through that a little bit and realized, you know, for the holidays, you guys are going to be doing coupons a lot earlier. So we're actually going to switch those in the lineup. So the next webinar is going to be in October for coupons. And then November, we're going to go over batching. So I will make sure to make that change on our webinar schedule and then also send out an email so that you guys have the change as well. We're also going to be going through, you know, what topics we want to cover for next year's webinar. So in the next 3 months, I'll be putting up a poll. So if anybody has any requests for webinar topics, feel free to put those in that poll so that we can start building a list based on what you guys need. And then we'll add in from there what we see coming in on help desk as well. Jen, I still don't see any questions coming in, so I think we're good for today. Thank you guys all for attending. If you do have any questions on ePOS, feel free to reach out to your sales rep or to our help desk. They'll be more than happy to talk through anything with you guys, and we will chat again come October about couponing. Have a good day, everybody.
Thank you.